How you guys doing? Good. My name is Muuxi, and I was born and raised in Somalia. Those of you who know Somalia, it's a place in East Africa. It's a country in East Africa. And it has been a civil war for the last 20 years. So I'm kind of considering myself the lost generation. I say that because all our lives we grew up in a civil war. For example, where kids in here in Winnipeg today, they get to play with the toys, they get to do all kind of stuff, but for us it was completely different. We used to challenge ourselves, which kid can tell the sound of a gun? Is that an AK-47 or that's an M16? We used to challenge that as a game. So that's the kind of lifestyle I grew up when I was in Somalia. And the civil war has taken so many lives, so many innocent lives, including my family members, including my neighbors. So that civil war affected almost every Somali person directly or indirectly. And because of the war, there was no government, so we were not able to go to school. But then one day there was this agency that came and built a school. And I remember we had to line up almost 5 in the morning to get in the school. Because so many kids around our village or around where we were living didn't have opportunity to go to school. So all of us knew education provides opportunity and provides a light. So we all line up from 5 in the morning to see who can get in. And once we sit in a class, and I was one of the luckiest people that get in, and we sit in a classroom. And this was the first time I ever sit in a class. I used to dream sitting in a class. I used to think that class is some other place, something magical. I heard a lot of stories about how class transforms lives. I heard that how, class can be its own community. And when the teacher came in, he said few things. One of the things I still remember today, he said, today you're sitting in a classroom. Today you are in a school. And consider, starting today, your life is completely changed. As a kid, I never understood what that means. And he said that, I don't know who am I looking to. Am I looking at a doctor? Am I looking at an engineer? Am I looking at a teacher? Am I looking at a soccer coach? I don't know who am I looking. But he said to us that consider today, no matter how many brothers and sisters you have that don't have the opportunity to sit in a class today, but you special today, you are sitting in a class, you have the opportunity to transform. And just from a kid, 9 years old at that time, it was really hard to believe what the teachers is talking about. Considering the civil war that we had to run, considering about the poverty that we had to grow up. So when I think about education, when I think about a school, I still think as what the teachers told me for that day. So when I came to Winnipeg, I didn't speak a word of English, and I can tell you it is very, very challenging to go to school where you feel that, you don't belong to school. It's not anymore the same class that the teacher was talking about. But I still believe that education was the key. So one of the things that made me realize is that coming to this place was how fortunate we are, how lucky we are, how much we are blessed, because our children doesn't have to suffer. Our children in here have many, many opportunities. Our children here have schools to go, teachers to care, food to eat, but then there are many millions of children around the world that do not have the same opportunity. They do not have a place to go. They don't have a teacher to talk to. And they will literally appreciate if they can just have that class that my teacher was talking about. One class can make a difference. So, even though considering myself, as the lost generation in Somalia, growing up with civil war, growing up with the poverty, I've always wanted also to help. I know that things that my people went through is very hard to describe. And I know that so many children are vulnerable until today. And today, we live in a world where we're getting advanced and advanced, we go into space, but my own people are still lacking the basic of the basic. I mean, in 2011, we just saw a famine in East Africa, and these are my people. These could be my cousins, could be my, family members. They still struggle the basic of the basic. So, as a one person, there's nothing I can do. That's what I thought. I went back home in a refugee camp called Adam. I saw so many of my people living in one big place, a place that was built to host 50,000 of them as refugees, 50 to 90,000 of them. But today, in that refugee camp, there is over 500,000 people living in that place. I mean, when you come to the camp, it's overcrowded. You can just see that. What made me really worry was to see the number of children just idling around, running all day long, don't have anything at all. And for me, that was me when I was a kid and didn't have that many opportunities. And so many of my chances just went out. And research today shows that the environment that kids live impacts them almost or determines, 80%. And these kids don't have any opportunity. They don't have anything at all. Especially kids who are under the age of 8. They don't have nothing. In my people, they call aqoon la'aan wa iftiin la'aan. And that simply means, aqoon la'aan wa iftiin la'aan means that without a knowledge, there's no light. And if you think deeply about that saying, we can have all the lights that we wanted, we can create it. But then if we don't have the sunlight, things will never be the same. So they're saying that without going to school, without going to education, things will never be the same. So one of the things that when I came back, try to do was to provide access to education for the kids in refugee camp, Dadaab. And let me tell you, when you become a refugee, just hear the name refugee. When you become refugee, your life completely changes. You are no longer responsible for yourself. You are no longer responsible for your destiny. And I speak from my own experience when I say that. Almost everything that the refugee do or does is determined by somebody else. And when you live in a refugee camp, like the Dadaab refugee camp, you stay there for 20 years. Some of them came as a children, didn't have the chance to go to school. Now they are young adults, they have children, and their children probably won't have opportunity to go to school. So I came back in Winnipeg after I saw the need, after I saw so many children just idling and wasting their future. I came back to Winnipeg, I met a lot of people, and we created an organization called Humankind International. And basically, what we want is to bridge the gap that exists. What is the gap? The gap is there are young people in the Dadaab refugee camp who don't have opportunities, who don't go to school simply because they don't have any access to education. And we have here in Winnipeg a lot of young people who want to make a difference. A lot of young people in Winnipeg that I met through doing a school presentation, talking to them individually. They are the most generous young people I've ever seen. And they want to make a difference. So basically what we're trying to do is create that bridge so these young people in Winnipeg can truly make a difference for the lives of these kids in the Dadaab refugee camp. And often we say that we don't have opportunity, we don't have opportunity to make a difference. But then now you cannot say that anymore, because now I am standing in front of you telling you that you have what it takes to make a difference. Every day, the choice that you make, every day, the decisions that you make, smaller or bigger, it impacts. And you are tomorrow's future. Tomorrow you'll be the one who will be sitting in a big office and making big decisions. I want you to be aware that you matter as an individual. Maybe you may be 15, you may be 14. But then the decisions that you can make will truly impact for the people who live in different third world or living in a refugee camp. And if you start thinking about what can I do, just the simple things, what can I do to make a difference? I'm young, I'm in Winnipeg, what can I do? I'm not connected to anybody, what can I do? There are a million things that you can do. Just by being who you are, by trying to do little things, or even think about that I want to do something to make a difference for this world, that is a first step. And now, in our project, you can get involved and truly make a difference for the lives of these kids in refugee camp. I'm someone who grew up in a war. I'm someone that never thought that I can even think about making a difference, thinking about it. But now I know that I too can make a difference. I too, regardless of the struggles, the history, the poverty that I grew up, the challenges I went through, it made me stronger. It made me realize that I can give back. If I can give back, if I can try to think about, I can do it. You probably can. because you are in a better place. You are younger than me because I wish I had the opportunity to think about to make a difference when I was in your age. When I was your age, if I have the opportunity today, I think I could have done more. The reality is that the kids in the Dadaab refugee camp, they don't think that they have somebody thinking about them because they're just doing their own thing. When I was living in poverty in Somalia, I was going on war, fleeing day after day, moving to place, I never thought somebody in somewhere is thinking about me. But now I'm telling you their stories so that you can hear their voices screaming that how much they would appreciate to sit in a class, to have a teacher. Why education? Well, as my people say, without knowledge, there won't be light. And we know for a fact, and research has said many, many times, that education is a key to development. Education is a key to open doors. Why we all send our children to school in here? Don't they deserve to have the same chance? Regardless of their status, regardless of whether they're refugee or whether they are not refugee, don't every child on this earth deserve to have access to school? It's a human right, right? We say that education is human right. Education is, every child should have a right for education, but the truth is not all children on this globe have opportunities to go to school. Who will be better to say each child should have education just like me? That can come from you. And you can say that because you are in the same age, have opportunity to go to school. And if you were on their side, you probably wonder if somebody could have said, I too need education. And if someone from the other world say that, yes, Matt from Winnipeg should go to school. Today, you have opportunity to say that Usman living in a refugee camp should go to school because I am exactly the same age. I'm going grade 8, but he never went even grade 1. You have to become the voice of these children because you are the only future. And I say this with no disrespect for adults, but adults failed to make a tons of difference in this world. That's the truth. Today, we're going to space, as I said, but we still have people dying for famine. It's your time, young people's time, to make whatever it takes to make a difference for others, for yourself. Thank you so much.